nieces and nephews, welcome to Auntie Faye Breaks the Huddle. All right, y'all, we're getting right to this video. So Zay Flowers recently went on the Fourth and South podcast and he said a few things. I wish he didn't say these things because of course I think now the Ravens are getting the attention that they shouldn't get, but I can appreciate his honesty. I'm all about that, right? So he went on the podcast and he basically was talking about Coach Harbaugh and how they worked out in pads, right? And I realized a lot of people were saying, like, this clip is just going everywhere. All these media people are talking about it. A lot of people are calling Zay out for what he's saying about Coach. And I think you can work out your body too much, right? And Zay is smaller. So I think it's different between the defense players working out in pads all the time versus the wide receivers or the QBs. And he was stating how working out in these pads all the time is what caused a lot of the team to be hurt, right? I kind of disagree with him a little bit, but let's get right into his videos. In the meantime, if y'all have not yet liked the video, please make sure you like, and then hype the video. That way this video gets out. And yeah, let's get right into it.
Y'all was tackling damn near in practice? Y'all was tackling in practice?
Bro, we full pads.
Oh, all the time. I'm be real. I ain't with that.
The NFL PA on the line.
However many practice pads you can get.
Yeah.
Oh, you getting them?
He using
every
them.
single one.
100%.
Jesus.
Bro, we doing one-on-ones week 17.
What?
Yeah.
Hey, I ain't gonna lie. Right. Well, my ankle hurt.
Week 17, we
hell?
doing one-on-ones. Everybody out there, you tired. You still going.
Physically, your body, like, how you manage that though? You know what I'm saying? Like,
that's why low key. That's why we had a lot of like injuries.
Injuries, yeah.
Because how we practiced, how we went. Like,
okay, here's the thing, right? A lot of people are upset about what he said, and so if you guys don't know, this is Leonard Fournette, I think, and the other guy is Jarvis Landry. They both went to LSU, and Jarvis Landry was a great player for the Miami Dolphins until he got traded to the Browns. Honey, you know the Browns is where you go for your career to die. We got to pray for Shador. So did you see their reaction though when he said that? Their reaction was like, what? You guys are doing that? That's because it's really not as common. And what we saw was a lot of media people like the Nick Wrights and God, who's the other guy? Nick Wright, Colin Coward or Crawford, whatever the fuck, Coward, I'm saying his name wrong. But they were just saying that he was being a baby and complaining, and maybe that because Coach Harbaugh was having them work so much in pads because they weren't doing it or getting it right on the field. And I think people are forgetting at how these two former players reacted when he said that, as if they were shocked, like, what? Y'all were doing that? They probably didn't go through that. You know what I mean? So I think that their reaction says a lot. I think that maybe it's safe to say that maybe Harbaugh wanted to win so bad that maybe he had the players do extra work in pads. Maybe he wanted them to be prepared. This is the most I've seen Lamar hurt. Lamar was hurt. You know what I mean? I think Lamar was hurt like one year that they didn't make it. I forgot what he tweaked, but he was still playing good until he got hurt that one time. This season that just passed, Lamar was just hurt all the time. He was barely running. I think after that Bills game, by the way, that Bills game still makes me cry. I think after that Bills game, Lamar just wasn't the same after that. Now, I don't know if that Bills game was a downer for the team. You know how you go through something that's so big and you think you're gonna win, and then the score is like 25-40, 4 minutes left, and the Bills go and score all these points because your defense is just not defensing anymore. Yeah, kind of like that, right? Kind of like that. So I do believe that maybe Harbaugh went through that game, saw the dysfunction of that game, and then decided and say, we're going to work out every single day in pads because da-da-da-da. Maybe Harbaugh has something to prove. They all have something to prove, right? So I think that's what happened. So let's listen to that again. And then we're going to listen to other media people to hear what they have to say. Because once again, a lot of people did not care. I feel like Zay was coming from a honest place. Some will say he shouldn't have been honest, right? But that's like Jarvis Landry. If y'all remember, Jarvis came out and Jarvis said that when he was playing with Kevin Stefanski, when he went to the Browns, he said Kevin Stefanski is not a player's coach. He barely spoke to anyone. He's not a player's coach. And sometimes you need that, right? And then Mary Cabot from the Brown, not Mary Kay, Mary Cabot came out and said Jarvis was lying. Why is he lying? He's the player. Were you in the locker room? So I think a lot of media people don't care for the players to come out after they leave a team or after a coach leave and state grievances, right? Or how they feel or what really happened. I just don't think it's for us to tell them to not speak, right? We want them to speak. We want them to tell the truth, right? I just wish he didn't, Harbaugh was there for years, right? That was just one season. I don't know if it happened every season where Harbaugh did that to them. But you could tell by the shock of Leonard and Jarvis that, wow, y'all went through that? That's crazy, which means it was a shocker to them, which means it shouldn't have happened, okay? So let's let that play again.
That was what, tackling damn near in practice? Y'all was tackling in practice?
Bro, we full pads.
Oh,
all the time.
I'm be real. I ain't with
They
that.
did the NFLPA on the line.
However many practice pads you can get.
Yeah.
Oh, you getting them?
He using
Every
them.
single one.
100%.
Jesus.
Bro, we doing one-on-ones week 17.
What?
Yeah.
Hey, I ain't gonna lie. Right. Well, my ankle hurt.
Week 17,
hell?
we doing one-on-ones. Everybody out there, you tired. You
So
still going.
physically, your body, like, how you manage that though? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Don't like. That's why low key. That's why we had a lot of like injuries.
Injuries, yeah.
Because how we practice, how we went, like.
That's why I'm not mad at it. Their reaction for me, Jarvis and Leonard's reaction was, oh, y'all doing that? Oh, no. And Jarvis is like, shit, I'm going to tell him that I sprained my ankle. My ankle hurt. I can't work out. I looked it up, and I don't see a lot of players talking about they work out like that in full pads every workout. Okay? And that could have been the pain of Lamar. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of the players were hurt. Yes. I know there's other years where Zay Flowers was hurt. Like there was one playoff where Zay Flowers was hurt, but I think he got hurt like during the game. You know what I mean? But what I'm saying is players are now getting hurt in practice, right? They're getting hurt. They're not getting hurt in game. They're getting hurt during a practice. Or like they feel pain in the practice and they go into the game, they're hurt. For example, Travis Hunter. We're going to have a conversation about Travis Hunter one day. Okay. I don't know. I might make a video later on today or maybe tomorrow, but Travis Hunter is going to something where he got hurt and everyone's saying, oh, he got hurt. He shouldn't play two-way, but Travis Hunter got hurt in practice, in the game and got hurt. He got hurt in practice. And I've seen Travis Hunter workouts. He pushes himself to the limit. I think he has the energy and the heart of like a beast, right? I do think he can go both ways. Now, both ways full time, I think there should be a package, but I still think he can be both ways. I do also feel like the Jaguars didn't know how to use him, but that's on another topic. We'll talk about that another time. But I feel like a lot of people are just upset at Zay at how he came out. So we're going to continue on with this video. Let me show you guys another clip.
I'm glad you said when you were doing the read, like, it started off as a compliment.
Yeah.
Because the question was, how has Harbaugh kind of helped you? What can you take from his time to continue on in your career? And it started off very positive. He started saying the way you work, how we practice, he can get anyone ready to play. And then he starts to allude to what we now all have listened to, the soft tissue injuries kind of low-key came from, us practicing the way we practice. I would say this. Every player in the NFL, to almost a T, feels like at some point, man, we got to take these pads off. Now, I also will acknowledge we're listening to 3 offensive guys. Myself as a receiver, I never wanted those pads on either. So you can take that with a grain of salt because all 3 of them would never go into a practice saying, hey, we got pads today. Defensive guys who have to do a little bit more, thud up, if you will, they will lean into more of those types of practices. But to almost give the idea or the notion that that's what caused a lot of those soft tissue injuries, I disagree with that. Like, there are coaches that do go overboard. We've never once heard any player talk about the practices and how hard they were and Harbaugh doing too much.
I'm going to pause that right there. Now, just because they're not coming out and talking about it doesn't mean it's not happening. You know what I mean? I think that at certain times, some players get comfortable to say certain things. Doesn't mean it's not happening. I don't think Zay Flowers would lie. I do think that Zay Flowers said this because maybe he's had a conversation with other players. And when I mean other players, I'm talking about the players in the locker room. We don't know and you don't know, sir, if after practice, the boys link up and then, because, on that podcast, Zay said that he links up with Lamar a lot and they have Bible study and they talk about God a lot and they work out a lot together. So as much as Lamar is not at OTAs, Lamar and Zay Flowers are together almost every day working out. These are Zay words. That's what he said on the podcast. I'm going to put the link of that podcast in the description so you guys can go watch the whole thing. That way you guys can hear him say that, okay? Sir, you're not in the locker room. We don't know if after a workout, the guys are not like going to like Lamar house to go hang out and all they're talking about, body hurt. Damn, dog, why we gotta do pads all the time? Golly, dog. Shit, man, fuck. I do pads all the time. God, man, we in pads. Man, if he do pads tomorrow, I ain't coming in. Man, I'm finna say my ankle hurt. Man, I'm finna say I put a hamstring. Man, it could be anything. You're not there, though. You know what I mean? And there's a lot of people that aren't comfortable to speak up. And there's a lot of players that are afraid to speak up. You know what I'm saying? I think that when you give some players time or they have a little bit more money underneath their belt, those are the players you're going to see start to speak out more. Okay? You will see that. Now, Zay hasn't gotten his deal yet, but when he does, you know what I mean? Like, I just think most players will speak out more once they get their deal or they're just that comfortable. I don't think Zay is lying. I think that this is just a conversation that him and the other players have had. But go ahead.
Over the last few seasons, I will say this: when your coach feels the need to continue to do things, it's because they're not seeing what they want to see on the field on game day, or we don't have guys available to practice consistently enough. So I gotta see you guys in pads.
So I don't think the record supports Zay Flowers' contentions here. The Ravens are not one of the more injured teams in football. They don't have the history of the Niners. That's first of all. Second of all, it didn't seem like he was alleging like that they're breaking the rules with how many they have.
Yeah, no.
Right.
No, I think he said like
He said however many pads we get.
it's collectively.
Right. So they're allowed 14 all year. It's 14. You're allowed 3 after week 11. That's the rules. And the Ravens, last year, what happened to the Ravens was not that they were super banged up at the end of the year. What happened to the Ravens last year was they started 1-5. The year before, when they lost to the Buffalo Bills, going into that playoff game, they had one player injured, Zay Flowers. He was out for that playoff game and for the whole playoff run, both playoff games. And in 2023, when they lost to the Chiefs in the AFC title game, they were the healthiest team in the NFL at that point in time. I went back this morning and double-checked all the injury reports. It's just the story of the Baltimore Ravens has not been, at the end of the year, they are decimated by injury. You could argue that was the story of the Chiefs a couple of the times they got blown out in the Super Bowl. We consistently are talking about the Bills' defensive injuries 2 of the last 3 years in the playoffs. Like, oh man, Mangino's out here like, that guy is playing linebacker, was working at IKEA 3 weeks ago. Now
the Lions,
the Lions, the Niners, for whatever reason, I know they've done their investigation, but that's not the story of the Ravens. Now, maybe that was the story of Zay Flowers 1 year, that he got banged up.
So but you also talked down how much do you guys listen to the whole thing or not?
I subscribe and listen to all of it.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Sorry, I apologize for even questioning it. He wasn't talking. He was also talking about just running a lot. It felt like he was referring to yards, maybe from that like tracker or whatever it is, Greg.
Yeah. So I get it. I think it comes into play when you are a high volume usage type player. When you're young, a coach is not looking at, man, hey, let's be mindful of Zay Flowers today.
Yeah.
Dude, you're young.
I don't like that. You know, a coach should still be mindful of his players. He should be mindful of his players' bodies. He should be mindful of the locker room. I don't believe that. That don't mean nothing. What, young people don't get hurt? That don't mean nothing. Look at Travis Hunter. He got hurt in practice. That don't mean nothing. A coach should still be mindful of his player. He should see his players move a certain way and realize, Lamar is walking with a little tweak there. Let's hold off a little bit. You know, Zay Flowers is limping over there. Let's hold off. It's not, oh, you young, you can go. Young people get hurt too. Hello, my toddler is 3. He bust his ass the other day. I'm like, you running? Did you not see the wall? He almost sprained his ankle. Like, you know what I mean? Like, go sit your ass down. Sometimes you got to tell a player to sit their ass down. So okay, I'm a little iffy about that. But let's continue. Okay?
Now, if this is
Nuke Hopkins.
Yes, we're going to monitor that. However, like, I will say this. When you listen to guys talk about practices and it seems like they're complaining about practices, it's typically they didn't have the year that they wanted to have. And I was on a team that won the Super Bowl. Mike McCarthy saved those padded practices. We were in pads at the Super Bowl.
Yeah, so I don't really like what he's saying because who's the guy, you know, he's trying to say like, oh, like people usually complain about practice or whatever because they didn't have the season that they want to have, right? I don't believe in it. I think people are going to complain in general, right? Look at AJ Brown for the Eagles. They won a Super Bowl and he was still not happy. AJ Brown was still not happy. Bitch, are you going to throw me the ball or not? Like, AJ Brown didn't even like the way they made it to the Super Bowl. He liked the way the Super Bowl went, but didn't like how they made it to the Super Bowl. He wanted to get better. Like, are you going to throw me the ball or not? And they won the Super Bowl. He was still complaining. He was still feeling some type of way. So I don't really agree with that. All right, y'all, let me know how I feel about this. I mean, there's more. I can show y'all. There's a lot of people going in about this, of calling Zay Flowers out. I don't think he did anything wrong. Y'all let me know if Zay Flowers just should have kept his mouth shut and not have said anything, especially at a time like this, or especially because he has not gotten his contract yet. That's the only thing I'm going to say. I'm going to say, Zay, you haven't gotten your contract yet. Maybe you should hush a little bit. But is a new coach there, new staff, and I just feel like new life is going to be brought in. I really do feel like, you know, new uniform. We'll talk about the uniform another time too. New uniform, new everything. I really do feel like new life is being brought into the team. So we'll see what happens to the Ravens this season. I'm hoping for a Super Bowl. I am hoping for a Super Bowl. Okay. That's what I want. I don't care for Lamar to get another MVP. I mean, he can get the MVP, but I also want him to get another Super Bowl too. I want a Super Bowl. I want a Super Bowl for Lamar Jackson. That's what I would like. If you are a Giants fan, I am hating because I don't want you to win a Super Bowl coming up. I don't want it. Okay. In the meantime, y'all, let me know how I feel about this. Okay. Let me know how y'all feel about this. Y'all think Zay should have kept his mouth shut and not have said anything anymore? Do you think he did anything wrong? Or do you agree with him? You know, like a coach should know the players' bodies, period. And don't forget, don't talk nice to me. Talk sports with me. Ciao.